Hello everybody, welcome to our lesson today. We will be learning about how to orally transcribe a melody emphasizing the tonic triad. Now we're only going to be focusing on melody, not rhythm in this segment, as we only have 10-20 minutes to get this done. So bear with me, and if you are not sure of what I just said, what that means, don't worry, we'll go over all the basics you need to get this done and some tools for how to study for it. Okay, if this were in an exam, a situation, you're going to be expected to orally transcribe both melody and rhythm and pair them, so we're going to break it down into just melody right now. So first comes first, what is tonic? Tonic stands for the home base of any given key. If we're in major, it would be the starting note of that scale or key. Let's say we're in the key of C major. C major has 0 sharps or flats, and the starting note is C. So that is your tonic note. Not to be confused with a tonic triad, which stands for 3 notes, meaning there has to be more notes than just C. So in a tonic triad, you have the first scale degree, okay? Then you have the third scale degree, and you have the 5th scale degree. I'm going to hold this up here. Show it to you this way. We have, in the tonic triad, the first scale degree based on the tonic note, the 3rd scale degree, and the 5th scale degree, otherwise known as, ignore this little bottom here, otherwise known as tonic, mediant, and dominant. Why is it called a mediant? Well, because it lives in the middle, it mediates between the tonic note and the dominant note. Now there are chords built on every note. We're only focusing on the chord, or 3-note chord called the triad, built on the 1st scale degree. So these are the numbers we want to keep in mind. We'll use some other things to help us along with this as well, but know that this is your group, 1, 3, and 5. So let's give it a jump start. And in the scale of C, we're going to start with C as 1, okay? And let's see if we can hear in our mind what 3 would be. If you have to, count through 2. 1 to arrive at 3, okay? So in your mind again, listen to the first note and try to sing out loud or in your mind. Better if you try out loud though. Getting to the 3rd note. Hold this where you can see it better. Did you arrive here? If so, you were right. Now what I was talking about thinking through the notes, you want to think through 1, 2, 3, because our mind has an easier time thinking stepwise. So expecting it to identify a skip or a third here is a little bit of a step up. So if you need to go back and really work through your stepwise motion up and down, that's what I recommend you do. So here we are at 1, 3, see if you can find 5, 3, did you sing this note? If you weren't quite there, that's okay. We're going to go through it together, starting at 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'd like you to only sing 1, 3, and 5 when we get there. I'll sing along with you, but I'll be sounding the in-between notes, okay? So we'll have 1, 3, 5. Let's see if we can start at 5 and go down. Same idea. 5, 3, 1. That's how you start creating sort of the mind's ear, kind of like the mind's eye, muscle memory in your mind for sound, for pitches. Okay, so let's see if we can just go through to 1, 3, and 5 this time. We'll go up, stop on the 5, and we'll go down. Here we are. Here's your 1. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 3, 5, 5, 3, 1. Try it on your own without me singing. I'll play the notes along with you. 1, 2, ready, go. Now this time, I'll only give you 1, and see if you can sing 3, 5, sing this sequence by yourself without the piano. Here's your 1, 1, 2, ready, go. Did you sing 1, 3, 5, 5, 3, 1? If so, good job. Now you might be wondering what these numbers sticking out here are. Well, let's go back to looking at it this way. We have our triad, or group of 3 notes based on the tonics. So tonic triad, right? And they come in a package. This is our package, 1, 3, and 5. Now this can repeat over here, it can repeat over here. We have higher and lower versions of this. So we need to be able to know what those versions are. We can hear it in the middle, like we just have. We could hear it higher. I think that's this way. Hopefully this video is not inverting. We could hear it lower. And lower than that. And higher than that. Those are all tonic triads based on the tonic of C. So in this case, those 3 notes would be C, E, and G. Hopefully you said G. If you have to step through it again, you would use the same idea. You step through the notes of the scale that you're in. In C, it would be C, E, G, and that's how you would voice them. So now let's try looking at scale degrees to extend out a little bit. So over here, we want to extend out to the new tonic note of the next triad, of the next tonic triad. So we would hear, I have to hold this a little better here. There we are. We would hear 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1. This note 1 is the same as this note 1, but an octave higher, or 8 notes higher. 1, 1, 1. Same goes for this 5th here, the dominant of the chord. Let's extend out that way. Now what we're voicing, what we want to hear, is the end of the previous tonic triad. So here we have, I'm going to start from this 5, 3, 1, lower 5. Hear that? So this low 5 is the same as this 5, low 5, high 5, low 5. Okay, I know I'm really corny. This is what isolation does to some of us. Okay, so now we're going to use all of them that we have on this sort of linear chart here. We're going to sing 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 1. So first we're going to start on 1, go all the way up, come back to 1, go all the way down, and end up back at 1. Let's follow along. First I'll use the piano and then I'll point, and you'll sing along with me. Here we are. 1, 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 1. Let's sing it together. Here's our 1, 1, 3, 5, 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 1. Hopefully you're following me there. If you need to repeat anything, do so by pausing or rewinding the video a little bit. It's worth going over. Now, the piano we look at like this. I'm going to show you quickly how this matches up. I'm really hoping you're not seeing this backwards. I haven't been able to invert the keyboard yet. So what I want you to take a look at is, you know what? I'm going to show you with a slightly safer methodology. Hold on just a second. Let's put this in a safe spot. I have a colorful keyboard coming up for you. All right, so I'm going to transfer over to a different view. Let me get this set up here. I'm going to get this camera, and you'll be seeing my makeshift keyboard soon, on top of a grand piano, you know, because why not? Here we are, because this is why. Okay, yay color coding. This matches up to this keyboard here. Now we can easily see in the key of C major on a keyboard, albeit a colorful one, what this pattern is. So, pointing to the note here, put this on top. Stick that in there a little better. All right, hopefully you can still see that. Now here we are. Let's hear some notes on our rock and roll it keyboard. Here's our 1. Oh, that's a high one. Let's do a lower one. The one you were hearing before was C4 or middle C. So I'll show you that here. All right, this one should sound correct. 1, C, 3, E, 5, G. What would go here? Well, it's a red. Another C would go there. We don't have one there right now, but know that it goes there. If you're familiar with the keyboard and you're in college, this shouldn't be a problem. Here's our high C. 1. Back to G. 5. E. 3. 1. Well, if this 5 was a G, well, that 5's got to be a G as well. Here we are. And then back to middle C. So if you're at a piano, or you have a piano, I would go find this at the piano, middle C being the middle note of the piano, right before the 2 black notes here. And then use the skipping motion, you see? So you skip through 2, which would be D, put 3 there. E, skip through F, go to G. Now notice that these have 2 notes in between, called the interval of a fourth, as well as these. So it's a very symmetrical shape. You have the triad, this group, which extends to another triad, that group, where 3 and 5 would be here. right? Or you can go down to the previous group where 1, 3, and 5 would be there. This is how you navigate your way around the piano, finding triads, at least in C major where you're using only white notes. But this pattern never changes. This is what we call transposition, okay? So if you're using scale degree 1, 3, and 5, that applies to any 1, 3, and 5, no matter your scale. So let's say you're in G scale, which has 1 sharp. Your 1 would now be a G, your 3 would now be a B, and your 5 would now be a D. Well, if your 1 was G down here, your 1 up here is G, and if your 5 here was D, then this 5 is also a D. See what I mean? So you can put this in any key, major or minor really, but we're thinking through majors right now, the ones we're singing. And we'll go back to our C. So I'd like to play you a melody here, which is the one you're going to be able to transcribe by the end of this, or hopefully challenge yourself to transcribe by the end of this. But I'm going to play it on this keyboard so you see exactly where we're going with it, okay? Special note here in this melody, notice it's not any of the notes we've been using so far. It's a D, and we're going to jump down here. Here's the beginning of our ending. Watch out. Watch out here again. And here. So this was a slow motion version of our melody. Notice that I'm not telling you how long it is, how many bars, what time signature yet, because when you're thinking about melody, although you may receive that information in a dictation, for example, think about only melody. Think about what your notes are first, what you're hearing, equate them in your mind, and then put them on a staff, rather than trying to do rhythm and melody all at once. We can get really jumbled and waste some of our hearings that way. So I want to now step away from this piano for just a brief moment and play it once more for you to attempt to write down on the staff. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to attempt to write this down after hearing it one more time on a real grand piano. Let me switch back to my face. All right, and this is your first attempt to write it down on a staff. Now we know, hopefully you know where middle C, E, and G go. You need a high C, a low G, and some of the notes in between middle C and G. Quickly, I'll show you where they would go. Let's share my screen here, in case you're wondering. I would start off with something like this, where you're shorthanding the rhythm elsewhere, not directly onto the staff. And what we're doing is we're looking at where do these notes live in a treble clef staff. try this in treble clef first, although you could try it in bass clef. You would have a lot of ledger lines, considering we're starting on what we call middle C or C4, but this is where your notes would live. These are the notes you need, similar to our chart. I'll hold this up really quick in my little corner. We looked at it this way, okay? But of course we read staff notation this way. So your C goes on the first ledger line, then your E goes on the first line, your G goes on the second line, your high C would be in the third space, and your low G would be in the space beneath 2 ledger lines of the staff. So you can keep looking at this if you'd like, if you find it helpful, as I play you the final melody, which you can always replay give yourself as few listenings as you can to get it right, and I'll post an answer key in our class, on our class page later, but go through the exercise of thinking through where the notes are going and putting them in the right place. Okay, here we go. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, and you'll give it a start. 1, 2, 3. How did you do, friends? Again, if you want to re-listen to it, absolutely go back and re-listen to it, because I would stop right here. You're about to get a quick show through of the answer, which again I told you I will post later, but we're gonna go through all these empty measures, the sort of measures you would use. You don't have to use measure lines when you do melody. Add those back in once you get the rhythm, okay? That's just a technique for getting it isolating, okay? And I've put quarter rests under these so you see where they line up with the beat. So here we are with the answer key. I counted 1, 2, 3 for a reason. We're in 4/4 time, and we have a pickup beat. So this is beat 4, and we're writing in eighth notes and quarter notes. That's all we need. So I'm going to play and click through these notes. You'll see them in blue as we go along. I might have to expand this so that you can see everything. Okay, here we are. Here's our C. 1, 2, 3. I messed up these buttons. One more time. Here we are. 1, 2, 3. Notice I forgot to do this, which I will put in the answer key. There should not be a final beat here. This should end here because there's a pickup beat. So the remaining beats would be at the end. Of course, we weren't worrying about that too much right now, but just so you know, that final beat should not be in there. The end is right after the third C. And there you have it. Thank you so much for joining me today on our online little lesson for how to orally transcribe a melody emphasizing the tonic triad, which hopefully you now know what that means. Have a good day, everybody.